Hey there, my name is Andre, and welcome back for another episode of Townscaper. Today I decided to challenge myself with something similar to the Grand Canal of Venice. So, unlike my previous video, I went ahead and actually put down the foundation of my area for today's video. And what I'm gonna do, instead of having a time lapse to showcase what's going on, I actually was thinking about just doing it in real time, and then I realized that I can do something a little bit different. I can take advantage of the undo feature, undo and redo features available in this game to kind of just show you what I came up with. So you don't have to really wait for me to come up with an idea. I can just go ahead and redo all of my undos just to show you what's been going on. And I can kind of talk about it as we move forward. So let's go ahead. I actually decided to start with, of course, the smaller area down here. You can see I kind of made a similar S shape to what the Grand Canal actually has in Italy. It's really hard to recreate in this game, but I went ahead and tried my best to do something as similar as possible. And unfortunately, the game decided to give me a big chunk of land on the left side here and leave the right side a little bit empty. But I did decide to actually start and just build a little bit on this side over here. So as you can see, I started with this nice reddish color, this little red wine color. So I believe the actual city, from what I've seen online, only has one color throughout the whole city. I decided to use three colors just to have a little more going on. I thought it would look pretty in this game. So let's go ahead and just start putting in some houses and see what's going on. So there's really no rhyme or reason towards what I was doing here. I just started putting in some stuff and I was feeling it. Hey, this looks good. Let me experiment with these colors here. At this point, I wasn't too sure just how high I want to bring the whole city. I was kind of torn between 2 to 3 blocks high. And eventually I will decide to go with 3 blocks high for the most part. But I did leave this section, for the most part, pretty much untouched. I really like the vibe of this little area. I thought it looked pretty damn great. So let's see. There we go. Yep. So this is going to be it for this little area right here. Not sure why I decided to just keep this house with this little piece at the back here. But hey, I kind of vibe with it. I tried to make it as different as I could, not really using the same structures over and over again. I realize now looking at this that, damn, I really like this little staircase going down the canal right here. And I didn't really use that anywhere else. And I really do want to try and use that as much as I can. I guess I was just trying to keep the paths clear on the side of the canal. Anyway, so this is what I got for the first corner. I really like it. It was quick. It was cute. I decided to roll with it. That might be my final design for that area. I say it might be because I'm actually recording in the middle of my whole process. So I'm going to be recording half of it now, the half on this side of the canal, and then I'm going to be putting together the other side of the canal and recording that part. So let's continue. We've got on this side, I started working with this red wine color in the corner here. I wasn't quite sure what I was going for, but this is where I started going tree high for the most part on most of my little buildings here. Of course, playing with colors here, I was really trying to figure out what I want to do with this guy. I ended up going with this little layout right here. Not a big fan of whatever metal pieces are sticking out the sides here. This side's okay. This side is quite okay, but this side right here, I'm not really a fan. It goes straight into the railings right here on the edge. Kind of weird, but hey, it's okay. I went with it. And then I ended up getting the staircase by accident. I love the staircase, so I just kept it there. Kept going at the back here. I kind of played around with what I could do here, and I ended up taking this long building here. I started with that anyway. As you can see, I kind of fill in the spaces, and then I decide to go ahead and break off the little pieces at the bottom here, giving me 3 buildings. I thought that was really cute. I was hoping I would get little clotheslines between them, but that didn't really happen, unfortunately. Then I went to this little corner over here, made a little something, and then this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Because I started building over here, as you can see. Let me just kind of skip through most of this. Because I was really trying to figure out what I want to put here. I have this little building right here, this big building right here. And then I went ahead and started putting some buildings to the sides here. I liked what was going on as I was making this happen. I believe I even got a couple clotheslines to appear in between some buildings here. Maybe not. Oh, yeah, right now. And so I started working on a structure at the back here. And at first I kind of wanted to have a courtyard, and that's what I was trying to go for. But as I was trying to make that work, I realized it's not going to work. I can't really have my little towers at the front here and also have a courtyard in the middle, or at least I can't seem to make it work. And so I started toying around with it, seeing what can I make with this. Can I make like a big structure? I'm thinking something reminiscent of a church, because this is Italy, right? And I kind of realized, okay, I don't like having this structure at the front here completely blocking my big structure, right? If this is going to be a focal point, I want it to be right at the edge of the canal. So let me go ahead and remove this building at the front here. And I did the same thing with this one, just because it kind of gets in the way as well. And so this is where I really start messing with this building, and I want to figure out what I'm going to do with it. I want it to look like a church. I want it to be massive. Not too big, but I do want to keep the general shape that I have going on. And as you can see at the back here, it has kind of a curve to it. And I really want to keep that curve. So I just go ahead and I work around that, and I try and make it, shape it out as best as I can to look like a church. And at this point, I believe I was completed with the little church here. So I like the design. I'm going to move on to the side here. I don't want to have this red wine color right next to the big red wine building, so let me fix that. Let me put in some different buildings. So I start with this color right here, then I move on to the middle part right here. Let's keep it going. And I'm kind of playing around trying to get this little balcony thing to happen here too, but it's just not happening, unfortunately. I'm still kind of learning how to make things happen in this game. And so I didn't want to push it too much. This is supposed to be a fun little build that I'm going for. So I don't want to spend too much time trying to make it as perfect as possible, because even the little imperfections that I end up having can end up looking really, really, really good. Unintentionally. And so I started filling in the middle area here. Again, wasn't sure what I was doing. I was just vibing with it. I got this little shape going on. I like the shape. I'm kind of figuring out, what do I want going on here? Do I want people to have a little space in the middle so they can look out at the canal? That could be nice, but I ended up just filling in that little slot over there that felt a little more natural to me. Something about having these two houses sticking out to the sides, I just really didn't like it. And now that I look at it, the roofs going in different directions pisses me off. So let's fill that in. Then I decided to just put in a little bit of a long building over here, fill in the space, of course, tree high. And then I just put in a couple of smaller buildings into this space right here. And same thing back here, I filled that in with one more building, and then another 2 long ones over here. Oh, and at this point I was kind of messing around with these buildings at the back too. I want them to have a little bit more personality. And so I just gave them a few openings at the bottom there. And I went ahead and just started filling in, just like earlier, a bit randomly. I got this little shape here, and I thought it looked kind of nice, a little bit different from what I have been doing. And then I just start filling the rest. And you will see in this next little area, this next little bit, I'm gonna have a lot of spaces that I fill with these very narrow buildings here. I feel like these are very easy ways to fill in space, and we have a lot of space to fill. So we're gonna need a lot of those apartment style buildings filling in some space. I thought this little tower looked really cute over here, especially at the angle with this building right here. So I thought, hey, let's add that in just to fill in that little awkward space right there. Make it feel a little different from what we've been doing already. Filled in space over here, just like anywhere else. I did try to get a little quirky with this building right here. I guess it looks all right. Then I went ahead and I used quite a bit of red wine color over here, I believe. If I remember correctly, I made some pretty big buildings there. Filled in the space with another one of these towers, thought it looked cute here. And then I reworked the back of this building right here. I thought it would look really good if I went ahead and worked it out a little bit more. So let's see, where am I right now? Oh, I know what's going on. Yes, so, okay. Before I move on to that, so this is what the building looks like now. It is one of my favorite buildings that I've created on this map to date. I think it just looks really cute with the little tower at the front. You got the little balcony, and of course, this area at the back here. And as I was discussing earlier, I went ahead and got another staircase going into the canal. I thought that looked really, really neat over there. And so that actually became one of my favorite areas. Now, next, I actually started adding a little something in this space right here because it just looked a little bit empty to me. So I thought, you know what? I can definitely fit something in there. So I went ahead and I played around with it a little bit. I ended up coming up with this little design over here. We got the little house at the back here, maybe a little porch area, balcony at the top here, and of course another one of these staircases going straight into the canal. And furthermore, this one goes into this dip in the canal. So I really, really like that one as well. Then, nothing too special, continued filling in over here. I kind of just found a shape here and tried doing my best with what I had. And so I played around. I got this weird shape right here. Kind of tried to fix it in a way that I liked it. And I ended up going with this design right here. Nothing too crazy, but doesn't look bad. Fills in space quite nicely. Then I tried filling in this area right here next to the canal. So just putting in some very plain buildings here, nothing too special, trying to make up a lot of that space that I've got here. And so again, we're going to have some apartment style buildings here. I did try to play with a balcony here a little bit. And even at the back, I want to do a little something. So I got this little viewing area. Because of course the map is only so big, so we only have this much space. Of course, we're a little island. So I have this little viewing area at the back here, kind of looking out at water. Next, I started working on the inside here. I was dreading this part. I was not looking forward to doing this because it just didn't seem all that easy to fill in this space. But I did get this nice little building going over here. Then I went ahead and I filled this space right here. Again, kind of just cute little houses, buildings. I thought filled the space quite nicely. Then I want to go onto the side here and fill this in. Again, continuing with the pretty easy buildings. Didn't want to go for anything too crazy. Put in a little tower over here to fill in some space. And then this one right here. This is kind of a cute one. I really like the little entryways that I got for this building right here. I like the roof. It kind of just worked out with the space that I had. filling in some space over here. This is where I started, as I was discussing earlier, putting in those really long apartment-like buildings to fill in space because, hey, I have a lot of space left. So I just went in with one color and I filled in the space as best as I could, trying to keep it kind of symmetrical. And then this building right here ended up being one of my favorites. So as you can see, I have the star-like shape going on just at the end of these buildings here. And that's something really fun about Townscaper is as you're playing and you're kind of just going along with what you've got and you're filling in with shapes that kind of feel right, sometimes you end up with little spaces like this. And so I started building up on it because, of course, I'm going to go about tree high. So I ended up going too high because I want to get this little tower at the top here. And then I put in these entryways at the front. And it kind of looks like a cute little community center, maybe a post office, whatever your mind wants it to be, you know? And so I just filled in this little space over here, and I kept going at the back here. And this is going to be a lot of the same stuff as you've already seen. Just trying to fill in the space, trying to make it look a little different from what we already have as much as possible. But that is getting quite difficult at this point. This was a very awkward area because of how it's shaped back here. We got a lot of points happening. And so I tried to make the most out of this area by getting a little balcony in here. I played around with this building quite a lot, and I really wanted to make balcony come out onto this little area right here, but it was very difficult to make that happen. So I ended up just accepting this little look over here, which, you know what? It may be a little similar to some other areas on the map, but at least it's its own building in this corner of the map right here. So here I had no idea what I was going to do. I decided to go in with one color, that red wine color, and just fill in as best as I could. Put in a couple of balconies, a couple of doorways. I tried to make another interesting shape right here. Ended up with this. I believe I did something in the corner here, did I? Or was it the roof? It might have just been the roof that I really liked on this one. Looks like it. Looks like I just kept it that way. And then finally, for this portion of the video, I finished off with this guy right here. And that's about it. I will see you guys momentarily for the last part. Alright, so moving into the final stretch, I decided to start off with this building over here in the corner. Just because corners can be a little more difficult to fill in, so it's a little easier to work on corners and edges before going inwards. And so I started with this. I kind of played around with these two pieces at the end here, but as you can see, I do take them away right here. Reason being, I really want to make those work. I want them to be a part of this building, but there was just nothing that really worked for me with those two pieces. And so I ended up just filling in the little space here with our little tower for this guy here. I tried to get a little inspired by taking away little pieces from the bottom here and having this guy float over the water a little bit. And of course, the very top here was very awkward to work around, but I ended up just leaving these two little spaces for viewing at the very top. And I love that there are actually two binoculars right up here. So afterwards, I kind of just tried my best to fill in the empty space at the middle section over here. And so I thought I'd fill in with two of these red wine colored buildings to begin with. Then I found this little area right here, this little shape, and thought I'd try putting in something over here. Again, kind of just ending up with this little balcony section over here. Continuing over here, we're going to get a couple more not so inspired buildings, just trying to fill in a little bit of space that we got left here. Of very course. So we got 3 stories here. I tried to get a little creative with the top there. It kind of, it didn't really work out as I was hoping, but hey, not everything can look amazing, right? Point being, at the very end of the build, it's all going to come together very, very nicely. And so then I had this weird shape over here that I started filling in. I put in our tower right here. I found that if I can't really fill in the space, it's good to put in just a little tower to give a little more of an aesthetic feel to a certain area. And let's actually back it up a little bit. This little window right here, I was so happy to find that I could do this. And then I just matched the door at the very bottom here, that little entrance area. This actually ended up being one of my favorite buildings in the whole map. Just this one here with the little tower sticking out inside as well. I thought it had a lot of personality, especially compared to some other builds on this map. So continuing, just filling in space. We don't have much left. So I decided to go with something a little bigger over here. I don't believe it was all too inspired either. I think I just went with a very straightforward build right here. And yeah, just opened up a bunch of doors all the way around because why not? Decided to go towards the very back now, try and fill that in first. Going with one of these shapes again. This one ended up being kind of cute. End up giving it a little balcony. It kind of works out for me. Not really something I've done too much on the map. And so I really liked it for that area. And of course, kind of played around with this as well. I also took away a couple of these, if I can get a good look. Yeah, a couple of these pieces right here at the bottom. Just for another little bit of personality for this building right here. Continuing, another tower in the very corner. I thought that was kind of fitting at the end of the canal. And then I try to fill in the little border here with just a couple small apartment-style buildings. And then this is where it got a lot more difficult, is after this building right here, is trying to fill in this middle area here. I tried so much. I tried making it one building. I tried making a couple buildings. In the end, I ended up just having these two buildings right here. Finishing touches, and voila, that is going to be my Grand Canal inspired build complete. So let's take a quick look at it. Turn off the grid, why not? And there we go. Doesn't that look nice? Let's try and get it the way it's supposed to look, right? So I think from here, there we go. Looking down at it from here. Very nice. Hopefully you did enjoy that. Let's try and get some close-ups on some of our favorite buildings here. So of course, let's go kind of by neighborhood, right? So this is the ending era. What do we like best? Maybe like this? Let's do it like this. Why not? So we got this little ending area right here. I actually kind of like how it looks. It's a little more tame compared to some areas, but we do have some inspired buildings. We got this little corner area right here, as well as this building down here. And of course, we can't forget this one hiding behind here. One of my favorite buildings in the entire map. Moving along, what do we got? Oh man, we got this guy over here. We got these two. Of course, we got our little post office community center-ish thingy going on here. We've got this area right here I actually really like. It's very simple, but it turned out to look really good, especially with the post office right here. And I even really like this building back here. Anywhere where I got this style of roof that kind of has corners that are eaten out of it, I really do like that look. So let's continue. Let's go back to our very first area. Again, very, very tame, especially compared to later areas, but it was a very good start, and I'm still very happy with some of the looks here, especially this building right here. I don't believe we got anything similar to it in the rest of our map. So very cool that we have something a little different at the very beginning of the map. This little nook right here, absolutely love it. I love that I started putting down towers over here. I love this little building over here, whatever's going on at the back, the little staircase leading down into the canal. Go ahead and take a dip, do whatever you want. It's very cute, very warm. I love it. We got our little church right here, or big church. Um, I don't know. To be honest, not my favorite building, but I do like that it gives something a little bigger into my city right here, just to make it pop a little bit more. I love the colors. Of course, I went with more colors than the actual city, but I just felt like that would be kind of nice to work with in Townscaper. So there you go. That's going to be it for today's build. Hopefully you did enjoy it, and I hope to see you next time for some more Townscaper. Subscribe if you enjoyed the content. Peace.